It's Victory Monday for the Miami Dolphins, but that also means it's Monday Overreactions after NFL Week 1. I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. We're going to break down the win yesterday and some of my biggest overreactions, and if they are overreactions or are they just the truth for the Miami Dolphins. But it was a big-time win for Miami. Honestly, it was impressive. I know a lot of Dolphins fans weren't the happiest with the way it looked on the field, but anytime you can get a win in the National Football League, I'm going to take it, especially when you were trailing 17-7 at halftime and you were one play away from going down 24-7. Obviously, Javon Holland had that also important strip at the 2-yard line of Travis Etienne, which allowed Kader Kohou to recover the fumble in the end zone. And then the next offensive play, it was an 80-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill, who we'll touch on later on in the episode. But to 338 yards, Hill 130 receiving. They were just absolutely terrific. And honestly, it was a little bit of a surprise. Jeff Wilson got not that many snaps. We'll talk about him as well, but 5 carries for 26 yards. He was the leading runner. It was and is Victory Monday for the Miami Dolphins. Got to be excited. You only get a handful of these during the season because even if you're a good team, you still only get Victory Monday 12 or 13 times a year, and that's a really good season. So make sure you celebrate the first one of the year by spamming those W's. All right, the first overreaction from Dolphins Jags Week 1 is De'Von Achane RB1 clear cut. I think it's true. I really do believe that Achane might have a stranglehold on this backfield more than we thought. We knew that it likely was going to be a committee coming into the season with Raheem Mostert having the season he had last year, 18 touchdowns on the ground, leading the NFL. Achane as a rookie, having over 800 rushing yards, 11 total touchdowns. But Achane kind of clearly dominated this backfield share, if you will, in Week 1, and he was absolutely spectacular. I mean, I just can't say enough about the 3 playmakers at all 3 levels for Miami with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Achane. They all had over 100 yards in total purpose. Achane combined for exactly 100 yards on the ground and through the air, with most of his damage coming in the receiving game. Then obviously Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both had over 100 receiving yards as well. But this is the interesting thing with Achane's Week 1 performance. He did not do much on the ground. He had 10 carries for 24 yards, did have a score, which it should have been a receiving touchdown because he got marked down at the 1-yard line on a little pop pass, and he clearly was in, but they marked him at the 1, and then they just gave it to him anyway on the ground. But that's where Achane was used the most. 7 catches, 76 yards. And to me, it's clear that he is going to be the most utilized running back in this offense. We saw the flashes last year, the ability for him to turn nothing into something, and that something being a massive, massive game. I know it didn't result in anything, but on the first drive the Dolphins had, it was a quick, almost potentially 3 and out. It was 3rd and 13. They swing a little pass over to De'Von Achane. They set up the blocks, and he rips it for about 28. Achane was absolutely spectacular on both sides of the ball, whether it be running or receiving. And the offensive line for Miami didn't do them any favors in the run department, so it was still good to see Achane get his fingerprints on this ball game through the passing game, which is what Coach McDaniel said was going to happen, and Achane said he was excited about it as well. But when you look at the snap distribution between the 3 running backs that played, because rookie running back Jalen Wright was an active, healthy scratch for Miami, the Dolphins only rolled with 3 running backs plus Alec Ingold. Achane had the most snaps with 37, which came out to 52% of the offensive snaps. Raheem Mostert had 44%, and then Jeff Wilson came in shockingly late in this ball game, had 15%, and he also had 5 carries. But the part that's more intriguing about these snaps is, listen, Achane played 37 snaps. We just showed his numbers. He had 10 carries and 7 catches, which means he touched the ball 17 out of 37 times that he was on the field. That is a high workload for Achane. The opposite could be said for Raheem Mostert. He didn't get the ball that much. Sure, he got a couple passes thrown his way, but he didn't get 10-plus carries like De'Von Achane did. So to me, it looks like Mostert might be getting phased out a little bit more, but maybe that is just Week 1 and overreaction. But to me, it's clear that De'Von Achane is your clear-cut RB1. All right, as we progress here on Overreaction Monday, thank you to everyone who got us to 59K subs. We crossed it during the watch party. Big shout out to all the new subscribers and the old ones holding it down here at Dolphins Today. I appreciate y'all. But we do have our eyes turned towards the next milestone, 60K, 616 away. Let's get there this week. And by the way, it's F Buffalo week. All right, Tua and Tyreek, are they the best duo in football? Truth. I'm saying no, it's not an overreaction. These two when they are on time, when they are dialed, it is a thing of beauty. Tyreek Hill obviously was in the headlines quite a bit yesterday with the whole incident with police where he was putting handcuffs on his way to Hard Rock Stadium, but he was able to put that behind him and have an unbelievable week 1 performance. And he would actually be leading the league in receiving yards after 1 week if it wasn't for Jaden Reed in Green Bay going for 139. But Tyreek was absolutely spectacular. Obviously, the highlight play was the 80-yard touchdown, which got Miami back in the ball game after being down 10. It cut it to a 3-point game. And then that's where Tyreek Hill, you see it on the photo there. You see this photo right here. Him and Jalen Waddle did the handcuff celly. I mean, what an absolute move by Tyreek. I actually tweeted that before the game, too, by the way, that when he got released and it was announced that he was definitely going to be ready to go for this game, I was like, the Tyreek Hill inevitable touchdown celly of him getting in handcuffs is going to be absolutely electric. And I tell you what, it did not disappoint. And we're going to talk more about Tyreek and Tua coming up in just a second. But we are sponsored by Game Time. And hey, you might have missed week 1 at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But don't miss the future games for the Fins, because Game Time is the best way to get your tickets. And they've actually rolled out a new feature called Game Time Picks, which is the absolute best. It filters out the fluff that makes you only see incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. But you could also get that type of deals for, guess what? Concerts, comedy shows. It doesn't matter. And they have the lowest price guaranteed. If you find a ticket on a different service that is actually cheaper in the same exact seat, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, too. It is absolutely perfection. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, let's get back to Tyreek Hill, because there's a lot of debate on who the best wide receiver in football is, whether it's him, whether it's Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. There is no ifs and buts about this statement, though. Tyreek Hill is the most dynamic player in football. He just absolutely forces opposing defenses to send their whole game plan at Tyreek, because in one play, he can change the entire outlook of a game like he did yesterday. That 80-yard touchdown, sure, maybe the Dolphins go down and score a touchdown even if they don't hook up on that play. But it doesn't happen as quickly, which also doesn't allow Miami to have more time to kick a pair of field goals in the fourth quarter and ultimately win that football game. So when he gets the ball in his hands, there's no player that strikes fear in opposing defenses more than Tyreek Hill. And I tell you what, I am glad he is on our side. He's had 2 unbelievable years in 22 and 23 with Miami, with obviously last year getting him the #1 overall spot in the NFL Players Top 100, voted on by the players, and he is showing us why that is the case. But you might be asking, well, he did get not detained, but put in handcuffs before the game. Calais Campbell was put in handcuffs as well. He said he was. Jonnu Smith was there to try to de-escalate the situation. Many people might be wondering if there's going to be legal issues for Tyreek Hill. I expect absolutely none. He did not get cited or anything like that. It was just I think, a bad day maybe. It's scary to see and have these things happen, as we've seen across the country all the time. It really, really stinks, and it really does, because it's like, what if his name wasn't Tyreek Hill? Like, how would he have been treated that day? Just absolutely terrible stuff. But prayers out to Tyreek. Hopefully we're able to move on from the situation, and I expect no legal issues. Show some support to number 10, the best wide receiver in football, Tyreek Hill. Spam his number down in the comment section. 1-0, baby. Show some love. All right, Jalen Ramsey. Is he cooked on Overreaction Monday? This one is not true. This one is an overreaction. If you joined us for our watch party on Sunday, I had some words for Jalen Ramsey in the first half. The first 30 minutes was not great for Jalen. Yes, he was playing injured. He did not play in all of the snaps. Kendall Fuller played every single snap defensively for Miami. So did Jordan Brooks. So did David Long Jr. So a couple of interesting players there that played the entire game. Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland as well. But either way, Ramsey, he did not play, played about 71% of the snaps. He had a very strong second half after a pretty rough first 30 minutes. And I mean, It looked bad. And after getting paid $24.1 million on Friday morning, you were going to be wondering, well, if this is what Ramsey's going to look like all year, this is not going to be good. Because Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie from LSU, who was drafted in the first round, had Ramsey's number. He had 4 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown. All of that, by the way, came in the first half. And it wasn't just the touchdown that he ended up sneaking behind a safety and Jalen Ramsey, who I think it looked like they were playing cover 3 in the end zone, and Brian Thomas Jr. went on a deep crosser and then got in the back line. It was actually a great throw by Trevor Lawrence, and then Brian Thomas Jr. was able to toe tap it on the boundary behind Jalen Ramsey. But it was also the first touchdown of the day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jalen Ramsey was man-to-man coverage with BTJ, and he just simply got beat. It was an underthrow by Trevor Lawrence, and then Jalen Ramsey was called for defensive pass interference, which set up the Jags at the 1-yard line where ETN punched it in. But he had big second-half plays, and he being Jalen Ramsey, whether it be locking up. Like I said, Brian Thomas Jr. didn't have any passing or receptions in the second half, and Trevor Lawrence only completed like 3 of 7 passes for like 30 yards in the entire second half. So shout out to the secondary, and shout out to Anthony Weaver's defense for locking it down. But the play that I want to highlight, and if you haven't seen it, go on my Twitter, at Nic_Rohloff. He had an unbelievable play on that 4th and 1. At their own 32-yard line, where the Jags did that little sweep to Travis Etienne in the backfield. The Dolphins gobbled it up, got him from side to side, going each way. Etienne obviously ran to the left side first. The Dolphins had it bagged up. Zach Sealer and we saw Emmanuel Ogbah get in on it. And then Jalen Ramsey was over there too. But what happened? Etienne reversed field, and I started to get scared because I was like, well, if the Dolphins lost contain, Etienne could pick up the first down and more. But the entire defense came this way. And specifically Jalen Ramsey, who went all the way that way to cut him off the first time and then sprinted the entire width of the football field to meet Travis Etienne alongside the Kendall Fuller, Zach Sealer, and make the tackle. It was an incredible play by this Dolphins defense, and it's why I have so much faith in them this season, even with injuries. They're more physical than they were last year. They're faster than they were last year. They get downhill. They play with some physicality, which was missed last season. Oh, and guess what? Bradley Chubb still isn't even back for the Fins. This is going to be a dangerous defense later on in this season. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we are going to bring you daily content, and we're actually going to bring you multiple videos a day at some points. We'll be back with another video later on in the day, and also be on the lookout for an early preview because Bills Dolphins Thursday night football. It's F Buffalo week, and we'll have you covered.